A sack with a decomposing body has been found hanging from a tree in the forest. Hey Tandem fandom, I'm Char. Welcome to the Tandem Collective, where you will get the latest in the book news, book recommendations, and the latest from Team Tandem, which is what you're going to get today. So today we are chatting all things October TBR with myself, Jenny, and Lex, who are our fantasy and thriller correspondents for the channel. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's see what everyone's going to read this month.
Well, listen, so picking my October stack is always really tricky because for a girl who reads dark crime thrillers all year, how do you get darker and more thriller for October?
It's
It's
a
a question. So I have found some books that are brand new on the list that I know I need to get through. I also have some old favorites that I have been recommended to over and over and over again that I just haven't got around to. So first up on the list, and I picked this for its kind of gothic sensibilities because I think that that's where I'm going to go for October, and it is The Death of Mrs. Westaway by Ruth Ware. I
Vince.
love Ruth Ware, and that's it. I think that's my jam for Ruth Ware is I love a vintage Ruth Ware, like the turn of the key. No,
Yeah,
yes, the turn of the key. That was absolutely great. So I'm hoping. Have either of you read this?
I own it. I haven't read it.
Great, Jenny, let's read it in October.
Okay. To the
Scrap your
list.
pile, add it to the list.
This was not
Um,
the aim of this call. Listen too long already.
so yeah, I've added this because it's meant to be gothic. It's set in a house, and I really love books where it's going to sound really cliche, but where the house becomes a character. So for October, I'm sold.
I've got my stack in front of me. I've tried to go a lot of fantasy, but also similarly to Lex, it's kind of dark, spooky season. So I have got I'm kind of trying to ease into horror. However, I'm a complete wuss. So most of the I've gone kind of like that sort of scarier side of fantasy, except the first book that I'm going to talk about. But we'll get to those. So the first book, this is one that has been on, I think, every single TBR since like June or July. Basically, I need accountability to someone to make me read it. This has been one of my most anticipated books of the year. And I don't know why I haven't read it, other than I'm really excited about it, so I'm scared to read it.
I feel like that about one of mine, actually. I get that feeling.
And it's The End Crowns All by B. Fitzgerald.
Ah,
Mm.
yay.
I read Girl Goddess Queen earlier this year and I absolutely loved it. Still probably one of my favorite books of the year. And I think that's what's really scaring me because I'm like, the hype is up here.
Yeah.
So I fully believe that she will pull it out the bag, but also I'm really nervous about reading it. And I just need to read it. I just need to do the thing. Susanna ran a read along for it. And I was like, oh, add me in. I'll join in with my own copy.
I always do that.
Yeah.
Always do that. And I never join in.
I was like, oh, I'll join in with my own copy. Brilliant. Great incentive for me to read the book. Still was like, I can't read the book.
Okay, so my stack, I'm going to show the stack is quite this quite thriller heavy actually. We've got a
I'm
lot.
so proud of you.
We've got a Peter Swanson. We got a little romance in here just to break things up, and then I'm reading Bad Cree, and then I've got another one. So what I'm going to start with is A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. And I am reading these because Amanda Prowse told me to read them. So
What?
yeah, maybe the TikTok of the house. She was like, I think it was like one of the we were like interviewing with the team, and yeah, I think it was like one of the books she was recommended, and she was just like, it's such a good series,
Mm.
especially to read as an adult, and I didn't read them as a kid. So me and my sister are on the hunt to find them all in charity shops. So we have the first two. She's read them, so I'm gonna read the first one this month, and it's very short, so I think I might actually just get that out of the way. But yeah, if anyone has read them, let me know because Amanda
I've read that
vehemently
one.
recommends them.
Have you seen the Netflix show, the Neil Patrick
I watched
Harris
like the
version?
first two episodes, but
Have you seen a film?
Yes.
Okay.
So I have seen both and have read the books. clearly I appear to be a bit of a
No,
unfortunate.
Jenny. I have
Ah,
also read all of them and seen both the adaptations. So, Shah,
Okay.
you're on the outside on this one.
yeah, I love the Netflix adaptation. I love the Neil Patrick Harris one. I think it's done so well.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, well, that
Looks
is my first
fantastic.
read for the month.
Perfect. Okay, so another author that I have been meaning to read for such a long time, but I haven't got around to, mainly because every time I search for them on Libby, there's nothing there. But I went to my storage unit and I was clearing out some books. And you know when you are accidentally like shopping your own stash, going to the storage unit, it's a bit of like self-discovery every time because I'm like, oh my God, look at all these books. So I was actually sent way back in 2021, I was sent a proof of Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby.
Hmm.
And I haven't read anything by S.A. Cosby, but I'm always told that his thrillers are like gritty in a very real world way. And I think this one also, yeah, so the back says a black father, a white father, two murdered sons, and a quest for vengeance. So it's obviously got a little bit of like racial, socio-political commentary in there as well. So I'm really excited to finally tick S.A. Cosby as an author on my list with this one.
So the next book on my list is continuing a series. There you go, me. Queen Bee by Juno Dawson. So this is the newest one in the HMRC series, and it's super diddy. It's less than 200 pages, might even be less than 150 pages, but it's
Wow.
like a kind of prequel to the HMRC books. So it's around Anne Boleyn and how she set up Her Majesty's Royal Coven. So Anne Boleyn being a witch and the witches surrounding her. And I just love that. You may know I'm obsessed with Sixth Musical. So I am going to be playing that on repeat while I'm reading about Anne Boleyn. Um,
I would maybe read this book, this sounds interesting. Like I've read Juno Dawson before and I'm aware of the HMRC series. Like I love that concept. So I could read this.
it's well, I'll tell you how this book goes, but I love this series because like Juno Dawson's such an incredible author anyway. But I just love how this series is about witches and is magical, but it isn't like really in your face. You don't have to learn all of these magic spells. It's not really full on fantastical. It's just witches living their lives being witches, and I love it. Absolutely loved the series so far. So excited to get to Queen Bee.
Okay, the next one I am going to talk about is I'm bringing up because Lex got excited before we started recording, and it is The Spider by Lars Kepler. So you'll see this is like one of the big airport trade paperbacks. So I bought it. God, I think I bought it about 18 months ago. Planning on reading it on holiday, but did that classic book with them of bringing too many books and my Kindle, so I never read it. It is currently unread, but picked it up because so this is how the second paragraph of the blurb starts. So it's just like detective, blah 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 blah. A sack with a decomposing body has been found hanging from a tree in the forest. So this is the next book on my October TBR.
It's brilliant. It's so good. It's dark. It's quite like you'll see she's a chunky girl. Like she's a big one. Yeah. So actually I listened to this one on audio. But I love the Unilina series. I love Lars Kepler. And whoever voices the audio in my brain is Unilina. I can't hear anybody else do it. I've never seen this man in my life, but that is 100% that character's voice.
Well, yeah, I am excited. And I've never read any Lars Kepler before.
Do you
So,
know that they are a they? That Lars Kepler is a couple? It's husband and wife.
hey,
Yeah.
interesting. Not know that. I feel like more people do that than you realize.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
actually, which leads me quite nicely onto my next title.
Oh, let's
So
guess who it is. Is it Nikki French?
it's Nikki
It
French.
is Nikki French.
I am currently listening to House of Corrections on audiobook from Libby, from the Libby app. Nikki French is one of those authors that I am like committing to get through the backlist. Like there are some that I want to read in physical, like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday series. I want to do that in physical, but House of Corrections is a nice little backlist. It's about a woman who is sent to prison for the murder of someone who lives in her town, very small town vibes. and she can't remember what happened, but she is absolutely adamant that she did not do it and wouldn't have done it. But her brief doesn't agree with her and says, look, just plead out and you'll get manslaughter and it'll be fine. And she's like, absolutely not. I'm going to defend myself and I'm going to figure it out. And I'm just at the point now on the audio when she's at trial and she's defending herself, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really great.
I've never read anything by Nikki French. Where should I start?
So the
backlist, right? Like they've got a really, really good backlist.
Yeah, it's really long. So their most recent book was I think it's called Have You Seen Charlotte Salter? And that's great. That's kind of like very modern thriller. There's a podcast element to it, there's a documentary element to it about a mother who disappears on Christmas Day. And it's about the families kind of recoiling after that. But I really love the Frida Klein series. Frida Klein is, I can't remember her exact job title. I think she's a psychotherapist, but she has a lot of her own past and her own demons, and she spends a lot of time walking around central London in the middle of the night. And I really love those scenes. So those are my top Nikki French recommendations, I think.
Nice. Added to the list. This is not going to be good.
October TBR
I'll just read every book. So the next one that I've got on my list is, I wanted something that was a little bit kind of cutesy. So I wanted to read Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune.
Yeah, very cute.
So this is the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea. So it's a cozy fantasy about a house of like misfit magical children who are deemed to be too dangerous, so they have to be in this house, but actually they're all just like adorable. And I love The House in the Cerulean Sea. I have purposely not read the blurb of this one. I don't want to know too much about it before going in, because I just know I'm going to love it anyway.
A bit of a pivot, taking a pivot to some romance, and we are going into I don't know what the series name is, but Eleanor Armas wrote The Spanish Love Deception, and this is a separate series which is sort of like sports romancy. So the first one was The Long Game, and I really, really enjoyed it. I read it in like a day. And this one
I feel like you love a sports romance.
Jenny and I are both on the sports romance train, and I just think
okay, but Jenny's particular niche of sports romance is hockey and hockey players only.
Yeah.
Char, where is your niche?
So I don't have a niche. I don't discriminate when it comes to sports romance. I just appreciate a love interest that can just throw you around.
Yeah.
I just think you're athletic, you're cool, you can definitely throw me around, and I find that hot. If any of you've watched Ted Lasso, you should absolutely read The Long Game, because it's absolutely Roy vibes. So this is just that classic romance thing where it just follows another couple that you've met in the first one. So I guess the sports element will still be there, and that they'll be surrounded by this girls' football team, but less sportsy than the first one. So yes, some nice cutesy little romance to break up the dead bodies hanging in trees.
Nice.
Well, again, following the path that you are so carefully laying out for us, I too am putting the dead bodies aside ever so slightly.
Wow.
Who am I? I know. And this is, to Jenny's recommendation, this is my Queen Bee. This is the book that I have been excited for all year. And have I read it yet? No. Why not? I don't know, because it's on my desk and it looks at me every day. It is Think Again by Jacqueline Wilson. I will read it. I am going to read it, but I'm currently just like reveling in that feeling of not knowing. Like, I quite like not knowing for this time being. It could be anything. It could be this, it could be that. And I'm also so aware that when we have like got a book that's so hyped for us, there is also always that like percentage of disappointment when you're done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So by not reading it, I'm just putting off the end disappointment of, not disappointment in the book, but disappointment of finishing. You know, yes, we get the dopamine of finishing, but there's definitely disappointment there too.
I am going slightly in the opposite direction of you two, and I'm going slightly more dead body.
If we're tapping out, someone has to. There has to always be someone in the corner, right?
Yeah. So this one is a little bit of a wild card risk. I don't know quite what I'm going to think of it. It's Diary of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This is, I believe, this is a sapphic romance following Dracula's wives.
Sapphic.
I believe it's
Give
sapphic.
it to me, Rachel.
I think it is. I don't know a huge amount about it. I was going to say I think it's written in letters, but actually, just looking through it, isn't written in letters. So yeah, that's my theory on A Diary of Blood. It's about vampires. I assume there'll be some dead bodies. I think it's
Be
Dracula's
shit
wife.
vampires if they didn't have dead bodies.
Exactly, right? So I don't know too much about it. I have heard some good things about it, so I picked it up. It has very pretty red edges.
There we go. That's the reason she bought it.
That was probably the reason why I picked it up, let's be totally honest here.
Okay, my next one is staying with romance, and actually probably not in the same way at all, but I do believe the house is a character in this one, so we are going with Haunted Ever After by Jen DeLuca. This actually came through for work for one of the Halloween stacks, and I thought, you look cute. You're very cutesy. Again, don't know a great deal about it, but I like the cover.
It is a good cover. I do like that cover.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
Something about the font.
Yeah. Like it does if the couple wasn't there, I feel like the font very much gives it like spooky vibes.
Like 90s horror.
And like if
yeah.
you know a lot about Jen DeLuca, this is quite a big pivot from like Jen DeLuca has a very like so these are her other books. So she has a very like recognizable brand. And so this is a very big pivot from that into like visually anyway. So yeah, I am excited to read this. Again, I can't tell you a great deal about it because I don't really know. The house is haunted. They fall in love. That's it.
So another book that I am going to read in the month of October is currently on its way and it should arrive from World of Books today. And it is Harvesting the Heart by Jodi Picoult. So this is one of so Char and I, and with our colleague Elle, we also read all of the Jodi Picoult backlist books. And this is our choice for October. I haven't started it yet, and I know that Elle is a little way in, but she's giving good vibes and she's saying that it's good. Char, are you digging around for your copy as well?
Yeah, I'm trying to find it because I am going to read it. Just it's not on the stack, but I feel like if I don't put it on the stack, I'm not gonna.
Sure.
I'm not gonna read it. Am I? I'm always. It's
I
always.
was looking at your stack, going, "Oh, you told me you were going to read a Jodi book this month." The problem is, I know I have a copy of Harvesting the Heart. There it is. There she is. I know I have a copy of Harvesting the Heart in my storage unit, but could I find it for love nor money? No. So I had to spend an additional £3.49 to buy it again from World of Books, but such is life.
What is really funny about my physical collection of books, contrary to what you can actually see, is that I tend to get rid of a lot of the books once I've read them. So I'll either donate them to a free library or like if I'm on a bus, which I'm not a lot anymore, but when I used to like live in London, I would just leave them. If I finished a book on the bus, I would just leave it on the bus. Or like I put a post-it note in it, like, please take it. Or like I just give them to my friends or whatever. I just get rid of them. But the Jodies that I keep because I don't think I collect another author's books in physically in the way that I collect Jodies. And I just feel like eventually my bookshelves will just be Jodi Picoult's backlist.
Only Jodi.
Yeah. But yes, I found that quite easily because of the color coding and I knew the color of this one.
So the final book I've got here in front of me is again verging more into the horror. This is just a horror. It's This Cursed House by Del Sandine. This is I do actually know about this one next. This one is a debut and it's a kind of Southern Gothic. So it's set in the 1960s. We're following a woman who moves down to, I believe, New Orleans to this big like mansion to be a maid. The family who own the mansion are light-skinned and they're white passing. And they are really nasty to this maid who is darker skinned. They really like look down on her. I have a feeling it's Amityville Horror inspired. I think everybody leaves and like things happen. I think the family is under a curse and they think that the maid can break the curse. But I think there is some sort of like ghostly stuff. I am terrified of the Amityville Horror. It is the scariest film that I have ever had the misfortune of watching. So I don't know why I seem to have got loads of like Amityville Horror coded books on my TBR at the moment. And I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? I don't like this.
I hate being scared. I hate it.
Yeah, it depends on the type of scared. Like gory horror, absolutely fine with. Slashers, great. Anything that's like kind of spooky and gets in your head, terrifying. So I really want to read this Cursed House, but it will be one that I read in broad daylight. And as soon as the sun starts dipping down, I'm like, no, can't read you anymore. You're scaring me now.
Char, you've got a book on your list that you haven't picked up yet, and I want you to talk about it because it's my favorite book by this author.
I know, and it's the one that I'm going to talk about. It's the last one. This is the last one. So,
Okay.
so there are one bit, but for the sake of time, we are just going through 5 of the books on our list. Rules for a Perfect Murder by Peter Swanson is the next one on my list. I've read a lot of Peter Swanson books, but this one comes very highly recommended from the lovely Lex. So, and I've been assured it's a very quick read. So that is why I picked it up, because this is one of those, because Lex told me it was a quick read, I pick it up every time like I'm on a time crunch. It's like if I'm going on a plane or I have like a medium to long plane journey, I will pick this up, but then I obviously just never end up reading it. So it's on the list for this month.
And it's also set in a bookshop.
Love that. Love it.
I love a book about books.
Mm-hmm.
It's also sort of these I just saw just before Christmas, so it is just, and that's me.
So other books that I'm hoping to get into my October reading schedule are The Body Farm by Patricia Cornwell. This is one of those authors that I have started again from the beginning, and I am going to try and get her entire 20 book backlist under my belt at some point. I also have the digital edition of All the Sinners Bleed because it's on Kindle monthly deal this month. So this is the other book that's really popular by S.A. Cosby. And again, everybody says how brilliant it is. So I'm diving headfirst into investigating that author. And last month I hit 11 books for the month, so I'm sure I will pick something else up on the way as well.
I've got my second half of my stack here.
Oh God,
I'm basically this month I'm kind of trying to completely mood read. So all of these are possibilities. They might all get read. It might be that none of them get read, but these are the other ones that are like higher. So we've got Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson, which is a YA kind of mystery thriller in the Truly Devious series. So I'm really excited to continue that one. The Mistake by Elle Kennedy, because I read The Deal last month, absolutely loved it, want to continue that series. I've got The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston because it's Halloween. Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon by Sarah Polley.
This is such a good series.
This is the whole reason I was like, I want to read some romance, but I want to read some like baby seasonal romance. And then I've got What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher because I really want to read something by T. Kingfisher, and this one is super diddy.
I love that cover. Is that mushrooms?
It's stunning, isn't it? It's
that's
a
cool.
telling of the fall of the House of Usher as well. So I'm like, I like that story. So that's the other half of my potential TBR.
So mine are the other physical books I have. Obviously, Harvesting the Heart is on there. I'm reading Bride. I'm reading Bride with a friend. I'm reading Bad Cree. This was given to me actually by Jen. So she recommended it to me. Again, don't really know a great deal about it. I think it's about birds. I am on audio. I'm still listening to the Scarlett Sinclair, Hades Persephone books. So I'm hoping to get to the last one of that because Elle keeps telling me that it is wild. So I'm doing that. And then I think I'll probably just put my Kindle down for this month because I have a lot of physical media that I'd like to get through. And that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're reading any of these books this month, drop us a comment, let us know because we can read them along with you. If you want access to our creator opportunities, the link in our description has our newsletter as sign up on, so you can sign up there. You'll also find links to our Instagram and TikTok, and we are also on Pinterest. So drop us a follow if you liked what you saw today. I will see you next time for the next video. If you liked this one, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe. But if not, we'll see you next time.